Another school steeped in rich rugby culture is that of Jeppe High School for Boys. One of Jeppe's most high-profile Springboks is former World Cup winner James Dalton. Things have not always gone according to plan for Dalton, and despite the solid school foundation, Dalton admits he made some questionable life choices. We sat down with Dalton to discuss his career and his memories of being part of that famous 1995 World Cup victory.
Well, when we refer to here, it's Jeppe Boys High School. A school that has been in existence for 134 years, and I'm proud to say I was part of that history. And yes, it certainly all began to become a future Springbok under Jake White, who also became one of the World Cup coaches, winner in 2007. So I have incredible memories of the school, and it's so nice to be back here and see that the culture and the heritage and the facilities are so well maintained. And the school's motto is nothing is too difficult for the brave. A lot of people would say I come from the wrong side of the tracks. I came from the right side of the tracks. And that all the choices and bad choices was all my own doing, nobody else's. I had a good upbringing, good school, everything was fine. I decided to go to the dark place. I decided to follow a path that was counterproductive and was destructive for myself and my image. And I can now proudly say that the past for me is dead. That's not James. What I am is what you see today in front of you. And I had to go do inventory on myself and realize that I've got a lot more to add. And hence my passion for kids and my initiative around my safe space, and that we're all entitled to a second chance. You know, if you want to judge me, off you go. But you're not going to take anything away from me. And like in Boetie Rasmus, when the lights go out, they go out, and you'll know when they've gone out. You know, I was there. The days were dark, and it was only when I embraced the darkness was that I could then find the light. Yo, that was amazing, man. Look, it was the first World Cup we were ever part of, obviously, coming back from isolation. Madiba was like our lucky charm, so bless his soul. And we, funny enough, weren't favourites to play Australia to win. We were inexperienced. They were the incumbent world champions. They had rock star names from Michael Liner to David Campese to Phil Kearns, and the list goes on and on and on. And we had no accreditation, no ranking, no stars, and we convincingly beat them on the day of the opening of the World Cup in South Africa. Let's go to the facts. So whoever's got an opinion on that, like many people have, go look at the facts. I never committed any offences that warranted a red card. I didn't bite, I didn't kick, I didn't punch, I didn't spit, I didn't do any of those, okay? I intervened in a brawl, I was pushed into the advertising board, it made one hell of a noise. That's all the referee saw. He turned around, saw me coming in, regarded me as the third player entering the fray, and based on that, he sent me off. There wasn't like reviews, Afterwards, straight after that, I had a committee that comprised one Englishman and two Frenchmen, who never once used the interpreter to get my side of the story across to them. They never once even asked the interpreter's involvement. And, Doc Late gave me an attorney. Monnas du Plessis said to me, no, James, don't use an attorney. You know, we must show that we support the game of rugby and all that sort of stuff. So he pretty much threw me under the bus. And yes, I paid the price for it. And but the outcome was still that we won the World Cup. You know, I played my part. I was the best hooker by far in the country. I was at the time probably one of the best in the world as well. And I deserved my position there. You know, the fact that Chris Rousseau played there was good to him, lucky to him, you know, but unlucky for myself. But life goes on. I think tenacity, maybe stubbornness. But no, look, I've always had a strong mental mind, and everyone likes the story of a comeback kid. And you know, I've made comebacks in my rugby. Same year I made my comeback, I played for South Africa again under Rural Australia. I made a comeback in life, and I'm proud to say that I've overcome some struggles, and I'm here to tell the story. And so I've come back from, as I said, from my own life challenges, and now I want to move on to the next chapter, the new James. You know, I had a very terrible experience with my son, who I've got no relationship with, and you know, very sad story, and also his mother having committed suicide recently, hung herself, and still no relationship or allowed any access to my son. So yeah, that broke me. But I've got to focus on the positive things in my life. Again, the points that I said that make me work. Don't get distracted. Be mindful of what you say and what you do, and be present. Take in your surrounds, take in your environment. Those three things work for me at the moment, and that's all I'm going to focus on. Everything else will take care of itself from there. No, we're not perfect. We're not perfect. A lot of us are broken people. You know, we have a public persona, and then we have the realities of life that nobody knows about. We all react to it differently. We all respond to it differently. And sometimes life deals you a heavy hand, but you can't go and show it, because, oh my God, imagine James Dalton that you show he's vulnerable. There goes my whole image, my whole reputation. And sometimes it's that reputation I rely on to make my life work. Come out, and it's okay not to be okay. There are people that will help you. There are people that will listen. Accept things when they are broken. Accept when you are broken, and go find the help that you need. You don't have to suffer in silence. You're not alone. And society must stop naming and shaming people. Like addicts. Addicts are not addicts because they want to be. Okay, they have an illness. And until you understand the illness, then you can understand the addict. You know, and I get so angry with people that name and shame, because it's normally the person that names and shames that it should be the one shamed, because they've normally got the most skeletons in their closet.
Drickus Venter is Jeppe's first-team rugby coach. We chatted to him about James Dalton's career and the role that the school played when it comes to the future of the children who attend the school.
You know, you look at a school like Jeppe, and there's many of these schools in the country. It's the birthplace of so many of our heroes that walks the main stages and stuff like that. And you know, when I spoke to James earlier, and he mentioned that, you know, the foundation was laid here for him, and for not just for James, but I mean, we currently 1,062 boys in our school, and hopefully there's a couple more James Daltons walking around in our corridors that will grace us on the big stage with all their talents. It's amazing, this being the birthplace for so many boys. I mean, you look at people like Wandisile Simalani, and you look at Tyron Green that's representing in the UK, and Sibo Nkosi, who's played for the Springboks and all of that. And I mean, school breaks in a couple of days' time, and Craven Week's coming up, and the Academy Week in Grand Como. We've currently got about 19 boys that's representing the union at schoolboy level, and so many of our boys that came out of the school system that's filtered into the Varsity Cup setup and playing URC and in different provinces, Achia Diamani playing for the Stormers. It's just magic what school can do, and what platform school can give a boy to, of course, get to the biggest stage. This is a great place. It's a great institution. Jeppe is really magic. It produces magical boys. We live by our motto, "Fortil nihil difficilius," that nothing is too difficult for the brave. And you know, we want to turn good boys into good men, into good fathers, into good citizens for their country. So, and long may it live. I mean, it's important what we do in schools like this, yes. There's a lot of good boys that's come through Jeppe, and James Dalton is most definitely one of them. I mean, he's a custodian of our school. He's legendary walking these halls of boys knowing about James and stuff like that. And like I said, there's many more of them there. I mean, you go and you think of like Wandisile Simalani, and you think of Tyron Green, Achiva Diamani. I mean, the list really goes on and on and on. And I mean, those are boys that's probably playing URC and overseas and stuff currently. We've got 19 boys currently representing us in the provincial weeks that's coming up now in the June holidays, and Craven Week, Academy Week in Grand Como. And I'm sure there's still a hell of a lot of boys that's walking through these corridors that's going to grace us with these big stages and showcase their talents. And you know, the school's 134 years old, and I'm sure it's going to last for 134 more years, and who knows who's going to grace us with their presence.
The future of South African rugby remains bright, thanks, in large, to the grassroots systems at schoolboy level.